Okay, the first one we're going to do is information on broker services. You want to make sure that your information is filled out on here. The brokerage information, England Brokers Katie. License number is my license number. Email, you can put, my email is for the firm. And then the office number is, now you notice as I'm going through, it's already there. It's because I've already filled it out once before. And once you fill it out once, it gives you a memory. So you can come back in and fill those out. It won't automatically fill them out for you. You've got to click on each one of them. Designated broker for the firm would be me. Oops. And my license number is 05621. You should know that number because you're going to use it a lot. Then you would put in, if you had a supervisor, if you were on a team, then you would have a supervisor. We don't have any teams right now. Then you would leave that one completely blank, and then you would come back down here and put your own information in again. In this case, I'm putting my information. Well, that's not my license number. My email. And my phone number. You need to get them to sign this or initial it and date it. In class, I'll tell you that this is important that you get this. This is a notice from the Texas Real Estate Commission. It's required by law. Texas law requires that all real estate license holders to give the following information about broker services to prospective buyers, tenants, sellers, and landlords. This is not an option. You absolutely have to have it done. And you have to present it to the buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord this exactly the same way every time. So you get familiar with the way you say it over and over. Practice this. This form is required by the state of Texas that we are mandatory that we give every buyer, seller, tenant, landlord a copy of this form saying you have the right but not the obligation to be equally represented as a seller if you're a buyer. There's a tenant if you are a landlord. Landlords and sellers are represented by a listing agreement, which means that the agent that signed the agreement with them represents them. You as a buyer or as a tenant have the right to be equally represented by contract. It's not mandatory that you do it, but you have the right to do it. And when you're dealing with a buyer or a seller, a buyer or tenant, they may think that it's just because you're opening the door that you represent them. You don't necessarily represent them. And you have to explain this to them that you represent them only if they verbally tell you that you are their representative, or if they sign a buyer's representation agreement, which binds the two of you together. So this is something you need to practice, and you need to say this over and over and over, that I'm obligated by the state of Texas to make sure you are aware that you have the right, but not the obligation, to be equally represented by contract as the seller or the landlord. And that's pretty much that one.